Okay, so today we're going to talk about branding yourself as a developer. So what exactly does that mean? That means you're creating an online presence to represent yourself in your new career. So this is going to be something that companies, recruiters, other developers look at to see your skills and kind of the languages that you work in. So some things to think about as you're branding yourself as a developer. Think about your past profession or personal experience. Can you bring in customer service skills, maybe management skills, accounting, maybe you worked on teams, you worked great individually, you're a self-starter. Think about all of those things and how you can use them just to enhance yourself. Also, think about where do you want to see yourself in 2 years? Do you want to be a freelancer? Do you want to work for a specific company? You can use all these skills to help boost yourself in that direction. And these are things that you can iterate through as time goes on, so you don't have to know where you want to be in 2 years right now. Just kind of keep it in the back of your mind of like, how can I keep improving myself and pushing myself towards that? So we're going to start off talking about LinkedIn, and there's some important areas of LinkedIn that you want to be concerned about. So let me open up LinkedIn, we'll get an example going. So we have Liz Tiller's LinkedIn right here. She has a headline. She has her description, which is right here. She talks about her experience, so all of her past jobs, her education, her volunteer experience, and then she has skills and endorsements, recommendations, accomplishments, interests, and then we're going to talk about how you can change your the bonus area of your domain name. So right now you probably see it as real garblebook. We can go ahead and customize that. So I'll help you do that while we're going through it. So let's go ahead and start about talking about her headline. So right now she has it that she is a JavaScript developer at Mad Mobile. That's her current position. So when you're coming out of this program or maybe you're looking for the next position, you don't necessarily want to say where you worked or you don't have that to put up there. You can call yourself anything from like a front-end developer, back-end developer, full stack. Maybe you specialize in JavaScript or React, Ruby or C#, .NET. You can customize that to be whatever you want it to say. And then if you're actively looking for a job, you can put in there that you're seeking opportunities or actively looking or something along that lines. And recruiters, that'll kind of be a real like search term for them so that they can find you faster. So let's look at her description. Oops, there you go. So hers is really short. It's only like 3 to 5 sentences, and it's just a little bit of a summary about her. This area is perfect for being kind of a written elevator pitch for yourself. So you can go into as much detail as you want, but really you just want to give them a summary because folks aren't going to read a long paragraph. So this is just a little bit more about, who you are, what your skills are, without doing too much of a deep dive. All right, so then we're going to come down to her experience. So she's got it down. She's got a few positions here. She went with more of a sentence paragraph kind of format. You can do that or you can do bullets. The important thing to remember is if you do one, stick with it. Don't flip between paragraphs and bullets and have them all different. That just looks like you don't know how to be consistent. So consistency is key for this and for your resume when you get to it. Make sure that they are consistent. You can build up more in here than maybe you would on your resume, but make sure that in the format, when you're looking at it visually here, it all looks the same. It feels good. And then she listed down here, she has her education. So she went through the Iron Yard Tampa program. So then she has certificate front-end engineering. So if you're coming through Suncoast, it's Suncoast Developers Guild. You get a certificate for web development, full stack web development, however you want to put it. I believe probably the best term would be certificate for full stack web development because you are learning back end and front end. But if maybe you're previously from the Iron Yard, then you'd want to do your front end or your back end focus because this could be anyone from recent grads to our alumni of multiple years that is listening to this. So you have to fine tune that for yourself. She has some other previous educational experience, which is awesome to have those listed out. She also has some volunteer experience. Volunteer experience is great to have on here because it shows that you're community focused. And companies love to see that. So if you're looking for volunteer experience, reach out to us. We can help you sign up for our kids classes. You can be a TA for that. You can be an instructor working with meetups. Reach out to a meetup group that you love and see if they need help coordinating anything. That can be put on here. She was a volunteer for Girl Develop It. She was a volunteer for us, for Suncoast, for the Kids Academy and things like that. She's organizer for Tech Ladies. Even if you do Habitat for Humanity or maybe animal rescue, put those on there. It just shows that you go above and beyond more than just taking care of yourself. So let's see, skills and endorsements. So you can have up to 50 skills and endorsements. And really these are things that you are working on or that you do work on, that you have experience with. So it can be anything from doing your coding experience to anything that you had from previous jobs. You can see Liz has her kind of top ones that she lists out. And then she kind of it's broken down into different areas. So here's her tools like technology, interpersonal skills, other skills. Like I said, you can have up to 50 in here, so you don't have to limit yourself too much. And then recommendations. So recommendations are awesome. I suggest you go out and get some if you don't have them, because this is just showing that you've worked with folks and that they liked working with you enough that they want to support you online and recommend you. So you don't have to have a ton of them, but once you start building them up, it really shows your character through other people's eyes. So you can see Liz has a couple on here. You can ask for recommendations. If you want to recommend one of your classmates or someone that you've worked with, you can recommend them. One way to get a recommendation is always to recommend someone and then ask afterwards, because then the person feels like, oh, they recommended me, so like I should reciprocate. So keep that in mind. So accomplishments, this is a great place where if you have multiple languages or you've worked on multiple projects, you can list those out. You can see Liz did a couple different projects, and she actually has other folks that she worked with on this project. So this is a way for maybe a recruiter or a company to be able to reach out and say, hey, you know what, how was it to work on this project with Liz? And then it also is a great way for maybe if you go and do a hackathon, and you can list your hackathon project on here, which is actually what Liz did. This was for a hospitality hackathon. So it's just kind of another way of showing that you're not just doing your projects, that you're going out there and going above and beyond. All right, so interests. So interests really are for following companies or topics that you're interested in. It's a great way to, if you're going to start looking for a job and say you really like Agile Thought and you want to learn more about them, follow them on LinkedIn. It's going to put them in their interests. You're going to see articles and things about them, and it's just going to help you speak to their narrative when you have to go and apply and tell them why you want to work there. It's that little bit of added information that comes in handy. All right, now I promised you bonus domain information. So this is really important. And actually, let me flip over to mine because I can show you there. So if you're on your profile, like I'm looking at mine right now, you can go and edit your public profile and URL. And then right up here, edit URL, click the little pencil. So right now you probably have a whole bunch of nonsensical numbers, really random. Go and find if you can use your first initial last name, last name, whatever you want. Make it professional. It can't be something like Squirrely Girl 2016 because you had something at that point. Like my Twitter name might be ktrammell95, but my URL here is simply ktrammell. So make sure that you want to keep it professional in here. And then once you've changed that, just go ahead and save it, and it'll always come up at the top. So one other thing that I wanted to show you versus my profile versus Liz, everyone that comes into LinkedIn will have this blue background. It's the standard background. You can actually update that. So I have just a keyboard picture. It can be anything that you want it to be. Keep it in the professional range. I went for the keyboard just because, you know, we stare at our keyboards all day. So I thought, you know, like a developer or someone in the tech field would relate to that. But that's something that you can edit. Oops, sorry. So if I click on here, I can go up and I can edit my picture. It'll tell me a standard size and I can crop it, reposition it, however I want. And it's just a little bit of way to customize your look and kind of draw attention to yourself. So that's LinkedIn. Next, we're going to talk about social media. So social media is something that if you want to have it, that's awesome. If you're going to use it, go for it. If you're not going to use it, don't have it. So right now I have several up here. I have GitHub, Meetup. GitHub you already are going to have because you're going through the program. This is where you're pushing all your code. Meetup is something that is highly used in the Tampa Bay area especially because that's how we go to all of our events. So if you're going to the React.js meetup, if you're going to something else, maybe the WordPress or front-end design or I'm trying to think, GraphQL, that's where you're signing up for all those and you're getting that information, you're learning. Twitter, I have a Twitter account. You can see it. My picture is not the same as my LinkedIn picture. This is my personal one. I use it for work a little bit as far as like sharing things. You can see that I shared something about an alumni Kenya here, some of our talks that have been going on. So this is something, if you're going to have it, then be active, even if you're just retweeting other folks' information or like communicating through that way. But if you're not going to use it, don't have it at all because it looks worse to have a blank Twitter account than to have one that maybe is just all personal items. Like besides a little bit of my tech stuff, you could see that I have gifts and fun things and like I go joke around with my friends through here. And I also share Suncoast things and I have my pictures and so like I have a sort of active account, but I don't use it 100% for work. This is more just me sharing my personality, which if that's what you want to use your Twitter for, that's awesome. Just also be aware that once it's on Twitter and like many things on the internet, once it's out there, it's kind of doesn't always go away. You can't really erase everything 100%. And you don't want to have something come back at you when you're trying to get a job. So if you're super, let's see, Patriots, you love the Patriots because the Super Bowl recently passed by, but say someone is, you go to work for a company and they're all for the Detroit Lions and the Patriots are the most evil team in the world. Like, I know it's a stupid example, but think about like, could that really affect your job hunt? Now, if they're that against the Patriots and you love them that much, you probably don't want to work there, but it's just something to keep in mind. Also think about kind of, you see in the news about maybe a director who put something for movies, put something out there 10 years ago that was just really, really in bad taste and they shouldn't have done it. And now maybe they're losing their job because of that, because someone found it. So think about that stuff. But otherwise, if you want to have it, use it. If you don't want to have it at all, don't. Like I said, it's better not to have anything than have it and not use it. So one thing to remember about all of them, try to be consistent as much as you can with your photo, consistent as much as you can with your name and your handle. So you can see I have my first and last name here, my first and last name here. Now my handles are different because this is more of my personal and I've had this for 10 years and I'm not changing it now. But my LinkedIn handle is technically my Trammell, which is right here. So try to keep them consistent as much as you can, but you don't have to rewrite who you are. If someone asks why you're Hockey Boy 2065 and because they happen to find your Twitter as you're applying for a job, just tell them why you are. Like unless it's like something really that embarrassing that you don't want to explain, then tell them it was like a random name you came up with. But be as consistent as you can, especially if you haven't created your GitHub already. Think about that as you're creating your LinkedIn, your GitHub, and all of those profiles. Like how can you be as consistent as possible? And then if you're looking for a job, be consistent with your headline, especially on maybe your GitHub and your LinkedIn. If you can put a little description area and kind of keep it the same as like, front-end developer, full stack developer, that consistency is key, and it's going to help people remember you if they find you on different platforms. Especially if you go to a meetup and you meet somebody and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm K Trammell on Meetup and K Trammell on GitHub and K Trammell on Twitter. It makes it so much easier for them to find you if they want to follow up. Okay, so next we're going to talk about blogging. So blogging, we're going to come out here. Blogging is a great way for you to share information. And I have a personal blog that I'm not very active on, so do not be me. I am a bad example of what to do for blogging. I kind of did it for a little while when I went through the program 4 years ago, and I got busy with life, and I did it mostly because of the program. I didn't really want to keep up with it. So if you really want to blog, keep and do it consistently. If you're just doing it because the instructors give you homework, that's fine. If you drop it off and then you get rid of it afterwards, that's totally fine. Like, you don't have to blog. It's just a great way to get your name out there and get noticed. So benefits of blogging. It's a great way to express yourself, express your opinions. It's a great way to share your joy, your passion, your knowledge. So you know what? I learned HTML CSS this week. I'm going to explain Flexbox, or we're in React now, and this is how, how something works, and I really thought this was cool. A great benefit of blogging is it helps refine your writing and typing skills, because you have to take the time to write something out and think about it, especially if you're explaining how to do something in code. You have to make sure that anybody that reads it can understand it, so you really have to refine how you're explaining something. It's a great way for building your network and reaching a new audience. So you may put that blog out there about React, and somebody in Wisconsin could find it and learn something new, and then they start following you, and maybe they share it. Or it could be something that Free Code Camp loves to have guest bloggers, and if they find your blog and they like it, or you can submit it to them, you can get out that way and just kind of gain a new audience and get your name out there. It's a way of networking online. And you're really gaining visibility and showcasing yourself as a developer, especially if you're explaining how to do something. All right, so to be successful as a blogger, there's really only one requirement, a passion for your topic. So if you're not passionate about what you're writing for or writing about, it's not going to come across well. So if it's something that you're really excited about, or that you really want to understand better, and you want to write it out and kind of figure it out how to explain it, that just really shows in your writing. If you're just writing about, today was day 3 of week 2 and I was just drained and like, I don't know why I'm doing this, or I really didn't understand this. Like, who wants to read that? I mean, honestly, like, it sounded horrible just saying it. So think about things that kind of excite you. If you are going through the program and the instructor says, hey, write a blog about how you're feeling this week, throw in some of that stuff that you are passionate about. Maybe you went out and you love photography and you got out and you took some pictures over the weekend or something. Find ways to bring passion into your writing, even if you're not passionate about what you're writing about, as far as school-wise. And then share it far and wide. So one great thing about Medium, which there's some different options that you can use for getting it out there. So there's Medium, there's Tumblr. You can build your own blog site, which I recommend doing after the program, just because you want to make sure you do it right. But if you go those routes, that's awesome. One reason I love Medium is just because it's easy. Folks automatically, if I go and click on, let me click one of these. If I go and click on this, I can follow people really easily. People can follow me if they find one of my blogs. I know there's an icon on here somewhere, which I'm not going to be able to find it because, of course, I'm screen sharing. There we go. You can do claps. So if you really like an article, you can clap it. And it's not like a Facebook like where you like it once. You can clap it as many times and say like, oh yes, this is awesome, love it. They can be shared on Twitter and Facebook. And so it's just a great way of getting your information out there, and it's easier to share. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm glad to always answer them for you. Please reach out and through Slack, through email, and I'd be happy to go over these with you again. All right, thank you.